We've made it. We are
Good.
here. Yeah, exactly. Apparently silent mode is not really silent, but hey, you know what? Again, 95% on top of things. Like not 100%, but 95%. Welcome to Prep Talk Live episode 67. Holy cow. We just keep adding them on. Like it seems like just yesterday we were at like 10 and then we were like, wow, we're at 20 and here we are. We just keep moving forward. I'm Casey with Cascadia Dispatch. Joining me, as always, is TUP the Urban Prepper. TUP, what is up? What's going on? How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. It's been a busy week. I'm looking forward to talking. I have my prepper's telemarketer headset on for this one because my normal computer kind of crapped out a little bit. So I have a slightly different setup, but I think it works. So, but all in all, things are going pretty well.
Well, that is awesome. Chuck, the usual suspects are in the chat. Exactly. Yeah. Chuck is already... We have the greatest chat room because not only are they wonderful... Oh, Pony Girl is here. Yeah, Pony Girl. What? Absolutely no notice. You know what? You've been here long enough. Should you be surprised at this point? Should you be surprised? Really?
Well, these times we're going to do that 6 a.m. live stream. It's going to be awesome.
Yes. This week has been a bit nuts. We were actually supposed to be camping this week. So we weren't supposed to really have a stream really at all because I was supposed to be in Bend. And I have some internet that I take with me because I take two different hotspot networks with me to make sure that I have internet at the campsite and then also while we're driving and stuff. But while we were driving, we left and air quality was not great, but it was supposedly getting better. And while we were driving, another wildfire started about 5 miles away from the campgrounds where we were camping on the other side of the lake. And so we got there, we got pretty much most of our camp set up. We got our kitchen set up. We got our tents and all of the cots and all that sort of stuff there. And somebody comes back to one of the campsites that's across the way and says, by the way, there's a level 2 evacuation happening around the lake. We're packing up and leaving. You guys might want to think about it. And so we ended up talking with the rangers that were there and were able to get some other reports, found out that we probably weren't in danger of the fire jumping the lake. But the air quality was going to continue to get worse. It was already was 135 or something when we left Portland. It was 237 when we went and talked to the park ranger, and it was getting worse. So I think it topped out at like 300 or 350 this week. But we ended up basically driving 3.5 hours, spending about 45 minutes or an hour setting everything up. Then we spent about another hour, 45 minutes or an hour, packing everything back up into the trailer, turned around and drove another 3.5 hours back to Portland. So we didn't have it on our agenda, but then Tup and I were texting back and forth this week, and we were like, all right, Friday, yes, 5 o'clock, we'll do a short one. We'll do a half hour, just say hi to everybody, talk about all the craziness that is the wildfires, do some follow-ups on last week's epic episode for everybody who was here.
That was epic.
Yes. So the wildfires are just they're it's just a whole thing. It's like an expectation now, I guess, in the Northwest that we just need to plan for wildfires every summer everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a whole bunch of wildfire preps, but I know that my old neighborhood that I grew up in, they had some of the homes had to evacuate there for some kind of fire that broke out. I'm not sure how it started. But yeah, it was pretty, and none of those folks have like bug out bags or anything like that. So it's it's kind of crazy. That's like one of the evacuation type scenarios that seems more and more likely to happen, especially in the summertime. And so it's a good reason why, families and people should get their bug out bags in order. Just not bug out like you're bugging out Mad Max, but just an evacuation bag. I think is.
Yeah.
I'm trying to call it more evacuation because I think it sounds more. It's not as doomsday preppery.
I like that idea, and I think I will adopt it as well. My
Okay.
my dozens of subscribers, we're going to call them evacuation bags from now on.
Yeah, that's it. Evacuation kits,
Yeah.
evacuation bags. Yeah, because that's what they're really for. Like it's not like meant for like Mad Max, end of the world as we know it type stuff. It's like we're surviving, surviving on the woods. It's like, hey, we got to get out of Dodge really quick because there's something like this, like a fire or something. So.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, because I think a lot of people, a lot of disasters, if you're preparing for them, you're going to probably stay at your house. There are a handful that would require you to leave, and it really would be more of a evacuation to another location than it is like, okay, I'm going to go into the woods. I mean, I'm sure there are probably situations where you would go into the woods, sort of a thing, but I think those are a very small segment of the pie of potential issues, and I think more and more the just straight evacuation needs are probably a lot higher.
Well, I think that like on YouTube at least, the bug out bag is more popular for search terms and stuff than evacuation. You have to start a whole new term, and bug out's been used for decades now, so it's hard to switch it up. I did a video years back for bugging in versus bug out, and what are the scenarios that you'd want to, and I think wildfires was definitely one of the bug out ones if it was nearby. So.
Did you make that one on VHS?
Yeah, it's okay.
It's one of the real old ones.
What's those old discs, like the big CDs?
The laser discs.
Yeah, laser. It was on laser discs originally, and then
excellent. Excellent.
Is Bernie here?
Bernie is here.
Oh my gosh!
Look, last week we thought we were going to have no show at all. It was the weirdest show for anyone who was here last week. I got on. We had a miscommunication in the start time, so I thought I was going on by myself late. And then Sutton's Days joined in to be the co-host, and then TUP joined in, and then we went for an hour and a half.
I'm still coming down from that high a little bit. That was great. So I think I thought it started at 5:30. You had it at 5. Sutton's Days is like, okay, I'm sliding in here.
Exactly. And then TUP jumped
on, take over and crush it.
Yeah, TUP was like, no, not on my watch. Not my show. I'm back on.
People started calling me. They're like, hey, Sutton's Days is taking over. I'm like, oh, crap. I got to get over
there. Okay, so Bernie can make Fridays now. Yeah, okay. So we'll just change we'll make the whole podcast different.
Yeah, well, Fridays is semi-nice because I could have my nice backdrop because I'm working from home on Fridays. So.
Yeah.
But Wednesdays, I like keeping people on their toes, but I guess it's probably not the best for consistency. So.
That's all right. Well, maybe what we'll do is like a Wednesday, Friday sort of a thing. And if
one of the two usually works, I think.
Yeah, and whichever day we're not doing something, then maybe we can do like a solo one. So like if I can't make it on a day, you do a solo on your channel or something, and if you can't make it, I'll do a solo on my channel or something like that.
Yeah.
I think that could work. That could be good.
So
also Sutton's Days, who is so far not here, I don't think. My pressure canner arrived during the 12 hours that we were driving back and forth to camping. My pressure canner has arrived. So
awesome. And so it's arrived. It's about to be used.
Exactly. Yes.
You're getting a VIP. I think you're getting a VIP session, right? Wasn't that agreed upon?
That is the sole reason I bought it. I was like, I am not gonna when the Queen offers to teach you how to can and not kill yourself.
You accept. Yeah,
you absolutely buy the tools to make that happen. So I need to talk to her. Again, I thought we were going to be camping, so I just haven't really done a whole lot this week other than like shuffle things around. But I'm going to get with her, and then we're going to find a time. And then I'm thinking what we might do is do some sort of like a live stream Q&A sort of a thing. So that we can like do it, like we'll do the canning thing, but then, if people have canning questions or something, then we'll have her on. I think it'll be a little bit better too than having her, like she said, like be on an iPad. And I was like, I feel like I could have you on like an actual camera thing or something. So
I'm sure you could probably do something fancy on your end, and she'll
yeah,
be her have her remote set up or whatever. But
yep.
yeah, my wife's been pressure canning tomatoes. It's because she's the tomato kingpin of the neighborhood and has all these people coming over on a daily basis to stealing tomatoes. But and you want to use the pressure canner for the tomatoes to avoid the botulism, because you don't that wouldn't be good. So
Yeah, no, botulism is not a good thing. Salmonella is
that's
not a
not
good
not
thing.
not recommended. Not
Yeah,
recommended.
no, it's not. It's not a good thing. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking we'll either do like a tomato thing, um, but I almost feel like I don't know. I don't know about the chicken thing yet, but I feel like
I,
maybe like ground beef, maybe like to get your
yeah,
feet
ground.
wet.
I think you should do ground beef,
Uh-huh.
but yeah, a chicken's if you, it's easy. I do chicken, ground beef, and pork is what I those are my
Okay.
proteins.
All right. Yeah. Well, I think now. Do you do them cooked and then can them, or?
No, you raw pack them is what you do for all of those. So
Oh, okay.
although with the ground beef, I do cook the ground beef beforehand because someone told me that I should, but due to a texture type thing.
Yeah.
But for chicken and pork, I raw pack them so that they pack them in raw, and when they're in the pressure canner, it cooks as part of the process.
Okay. All right.
And same with fish and stuff too. But there's something about like the ground beef where to be on the safe side, uh, you most people I think cook it ahead of time
I think it's funny that
or half cook it.
people would cook the ground beef to be on the safe side, but not the chicken because I feel like the chicken is way more dangerous than the beef is.
I think it's something about it being like compact, and you might not get to the center of it, so it looks like it's all prepared, but then really it's just the outer part of it. Something like is what
Oh, got it. Okay.
yeah.
All right. Okay. That's excellent. So yeah. So we'll do. So keep your eyes peeled. I got to check with Sutton's Days, but we'll do a whole thing, and we'll make it canning with Casey or something like that.
Hmm.
And let's try not to. No one goes to the emergency room, sort of an idea. But I'm very excited. And so yeah. So that's a thing that'll be happening.
Yeah.
Um, and then I saw actually because we were doing the whole wildfire thing and everything, there was a big article in I don't remember if it's the New York Times or Wall Street Journal, maybe somewhere. Um, and it was about the Maui
Hmm.
fire, and they were bringing up this idea of like urban. I have to look and find the actual term that they use, but it was something like an urban tinderbox. And the idea was that we have kind of created cities and all of these things, and in general like wildfires used to be things that happen in forests or country areas, not really in cities, but because now the wildfires are getting closer and you have all of these buildings that are close together, that the winds and things are making it so that the general fire breaks of like streets and spacing and everything else no longer matter, and it just that these fires are going to become more and more prevalent in cities and suburbs, kind of going through these areas, especially places with wood, mostly wood construction.
Hmm.
um, so it kind of got me thinking a little bit. It's kind of like when read the article about the earthquake, and I was like, oh my goodness, we have to figure out the earthquake. The wildfire thing is not like I haven't flipped my whole world upside down because of the wildfire thing, because it was already flipped upside down because of the earthquake thing. But it did get me thinking about things like landscape changes that you might use to kind of give yourself more space, and like um, making sure that leaves and do you have bark dust and wood chips on the ground for landscaping, or maybe is it better to go with like um, really green grass and rocks and things like that? I don't know. Those are things that might be things that people consider in the future.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I know the people that I know down in Oregon, they try to create some kind of like a dirt barrier between like the forest and clearing off the ground,
Hmm.
all the ground stuff. I know I saw videos of the stuff in Maui with it just like going across concrete, like it looked like like water almost in a way. And so it's like, geez, what do you do then? So I don't. Uh, it's
If
a
the
tricky one for
wildfire
sure.
doesn't get you, the lava will.
Yeah,
It's
well,
just
it kind of it
always.
looked the way that it like when the wind's blowing stuff, it's kind of crazy how what happened. So that'd be a hard
Yeah.
one to kind of prep for. So unless you want to have like complete big concrete blocks around your entire place, which probably not the most aesthetic.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little. Although it's funny. So Chuck says no bushes or shrubs next to the house for sure.
Yeah.
Excellent. Um, Although I have seen people who do like spiky bushes, like thorny bushes, next to windows and things to make it more of like a defensive security
Hmm.
thing. So, somebody's not going to try to go in a window if there's a big sticker bush right in front of the window, sort of an idea. But if the fire is there, then like it doesn't care.
Yeah, and even if you had
Yeah.
like a moat with alligators to protect from zombies, like it seems like it still jumps across that stuff. So it's a, I don't know what you would do.
You mean like the moat that I have around my office
Yeah, like
with
the
the.
castle, old school
Yeah,
castle
exactly.
moats and stuff. Like it's
Yeah.
when that wind's going, it would just jump right over that. So
Yeah, it's kind of nuts. When we moved in, when we bought our house several years ago, it was owned previously by an elderly couple who wanted a very low maintenance yard. And so our
mhm.
yard was literally from corner to corner river rock.
Yeah,
Different colors, different sizes, but there was not a plant, nothing alive anywhere. And so when we got here and we were having kids and everything, we were like, okay, we need a lawn, we need bushes and everything else. Now that there's wildfires, I'm like, maybe they were onto something. Like maybe that's a thing to consider a little bit more.
yeah. I know that for like the for preppers, we're always like prepping for like the fantasize like nuclear type stuff or other zombies and all those stuff. But I think the most common are fires and flooding from what I've like the research,
Yep.
at least in Seattle or where we live. That's like the most common ones, even more than earthquakes, because earthquakes are the last one I remember was over 20 years ago now. But uh, yeah, it's I know that for flooding there's like uh some kind of inflatable, or you fill it up. It's almost like a sandbags kind of, and you can
Yes.
get some wrapper stuff that goes around the house. I've seen that, and maybe something along that lines for might work for fires too. I know that I remember a Canadian prepper back in the day did a video talking about how for having like the bags of sandbags for sandbags if you needed to make some here. But I think
Yeah.
he was doing it more for tactical reasons, but seems to be used for like flooding and that kind of thing.
He was hiding behind the sandbags.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah, he was
like,
like,
I'm
yeah,
just
yes,
gonna.
all yeah, he was yeah, it
Or
was
he was
all out
driving
war.
around on his electric bike, just
Yes.
flinging the sandbags. Yeah, there's I
And
think it's called Quick Dam or something.
quick yeah,
Is
something I think that's what it is. And then
the
I
inflatable
got
thing?
some and it was but the ones that I got were like real it was like for like the bottom of your door or something. And like I don't think this is gonna cut it for
You got the like things appear larger than they
yes.
or appear
I was
smaller than they were.
expecting this big barrier to put in the front of the house and it was ended up being like the size of my arm for like underneath the door or something. And it's,
I'm very confident that someone in the chat or watching will have a comment about how it was smaller than you expected or
yes.
something like that.
Yeah.
It's totally fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've thought about doing it because we have wetlands behind us, which haven't flooded too badly, but there have been a couple of times where we get a huge rain or huge snow melt or something, and it's basically flat. There's like three creeks that come together, and then there's a pond, and it's basically flat and shallow. And so it doesn't take a whole lot for it to start to creep up the banks. But then the back of our house is up. There's kind of like we have like kind of terraced up. So it would really have to flood a lot
Yeah.
to get to our house. But I have considered like even if it was going to get to our house, it was just going to get in our backyard and everything else, like having something to kind of divert the water away.
Yeah, I was wondering if not for floods, but for fires, if it makes
Yeah.
sense for preppers to have like most people don't have the sprinklers on their roofs, but if there's like maybe having something that could be jury rigged if need be in an emergency situation to at least get your perimeter so it's spraying that stuff.
Oh
I don't
yeah.
might be you'd have to act really quickly. But if you had it, if you were like one of those people that had like a warning saying, "Hey, you're level 2, you might have to evacuate. You might."
Yeah.
If you had 20 minutes to maybe consider putting having something set up where you could allow you to do that, and maybe having those because we have roof roof hooks, or it's for like when
Yeah.
people are working up on the roof and they tie themselves there so they're not going to fall off. I'm wondering if maybe it makes sense to have something for wildflowers that you could like what's the best
Yeah.
like sprinkler for perimeter spraying. So
Well, I almost wonder if it's, it seems like the sort of thing you could actually put together pretty easily if you
yeah,
just
you can
run a hose from your, you know, you put the sprinkler on the roof or attach it to the side of the house, even if it's like one of those that kind of goes like toot 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 toot
yeah, I'm
toot.
thinking the like
Yeah,
you know, people that do the dance like the that thing.
yeah, exactly. The sprinkler.
Yeah, the
Yeah, or
sprinkler.
like
Yeah,
the
that,
shopping cart or whatever.
yeah. I think the
You get the
sprinkler is what you want. That one.
yeah. So something like that, or that you could attach to like a gutter, and then run a hose under the gutter, and then kind of like down the corner of the house, and have it close to a hose bib. So that basically all you would have to do is attach it to the hose bib and turn it on
I wonder if
and have
it
it
makes
go.
sense to like if you had to evacuate like before you leave, like
Hmm.
hope for the best type thing to if
Yeah,
you set that and leave that running. But I know that like some people didn't have water and stuff, or stuff was turned off, or that makes it trickier. But
yeah. I
yeah,
guess like
I'm gonna have to explore that a little bit now that that's a
yeah. I mean, we always
plan.
come up with the best ideas on this
Yeah, we
show.
do.
We
This
come
is
up
all
with some.
improv. It's
Yeah,
all
this is all. There's no script.
yeah,
If you
no
couldn't
script.
tell, if
Yeah.
none of you could, also, if none of you could tell, we don't have a script. I don't know what to tell you.
I
Like
think
at this point.
we barely got on time. I think so.
Yeah, exactly. We were like, what's happening? We don't even know what day it is or what time it is or anything like that. Um, I wonder too, because like with an earthquake, so we have the gas generator, the whole house gas generator that's natural
Mhm.
gas, which is great for power outages if there's a storm or if there's snow or ice or something like that. We've had a couple of times where like our neighborhood will lose power, that thing kicks on and goes, and
Yeah.
it's amazing. In an earthquake, though, like the pipes are going to break, and so it won't matter. Um, I wonder if there was a fire, if water would still, because the water pipes are underground
Yeah.
and then okay it gets to the hose, as long as the fire didn't get to the hose, and maybe for us we have a couple of hose bibs that are attached to the side of the house, so all the plumbing is internal. Maybe there's something about like using those versus one that's maybe like outside in your yard or something like
Mm.
that. But I'm wondering if there's anything in the water system that the fire would interrupt. Like, is there like a transfer station or something that the fire could take out that would then mean that water wouldn't flow? Sort of an idea.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah. Okay, that's a question for like the water department or something. Okay, I'll have to do
Yeah.
some research on that one.
We just had the other day, we have a elderly neighbor, and one of the other neighbors came down, and there's a some kind of flood happening in the back. Down, look at this, and there was this big gushing of water coming out of the dirt, like just like a big stream that all of a sudden appeared. And we're like, "What's going on?" And so we're trying to figure out the source of it, and we figured out it was going to one of our next door neighbor's house, and they're a little older, and so we had myself and someone else was looking at the water meter. We
Mhm.
saw that it was spinning, so something was leaking from their end.
Going
So
nuts.
fortunately, we went to the sprinkler system, turned off the access to the sprinkler, and that stopped the flooding type thing. But this kind of things happen. It was happened suddenly where you're not expecting it, and then next, even though this was real minor, but
Yeah,
yeah, you never know when stuff happens. Where
exactly. Accidents happen. Things happen. Yeah, we had a pipe in our backyard that burst, but I didn't go. It's behind the. It's in our backyard in a spot that I don't go very frequently, and
Mhm.
so I hadn't been back there in 5 or 6 days, and so then it was like, how long has this thing been just running for
Yeah,
a long time? Um, but luckily we had like a little shut off, so we could shut it off, and it didn't continue, and we could still have water to the house and everything. Um, but yeah, okay, the sprinkler house idea,
yeah, I'm
I
gonna have to
kind
do
of
some
like that
Amazon
idea.
searches. I like it too because we have
Yeah,
really my wife has hoses going all over the place for her gardening and her tomatoes and stuff. So, but it seems like it'd be a quick with the right ladder and the right setup, pre-plan type thing. Maybe might have to explore it. Yeah.
I wonder too if it's also like because I can imagine putting something like that up. It's going to be something that you're going to put up and it's going to stay there for a while. So I imagine that it's probably it's got to look like, I'm thinking about the wavy
pleasing.
sprinklers
Yeah.
and putting that on the back side of your roof of your house, so that then the wavy would actually go into the front. But if somebody pulls up to your house, they don't see sprinklers on the front of your roof.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I have to do some research on my end. So
All right. Well, we'll
I
figure that
kind
out.
of think it should be set up like in case of emergency, but my wife would not want sprinklers up on the roof.
Well, yeah, no,
24/7.
it's got to be. Yeah, it's got to be an in case of emergency thing. But if it's on the roof, then you've got to have a way to get it up on the roof. And if you're in the place where, hey, we're actually going to use this and then leave, I don't know that you want to spend a ton of time getting onto the roof or near the roof and attaching.
Yeah, it had to be pretty quick.
Yeah.
Uh,
All right.
well, these are things that we explore, and then
Yeah.
we'll have Chuck do a look into it for us and give us a report next week. So
Yeah. Yeah. Chuck can be on it. Let's see.
yeah, Apex says turning on your yard sprinkler
Yeah.
system might be help. Yeah,
Yep.
to be honest, I don't have the answers on this one, but we've never been through one, but I think that's a good idea.
Yeah. The tricky part with yard sprinklers, though, I guess it depends on what your yard setup is.
Yeah.
But like for us, ours is zoned.
Yeah, ours
So-
has zones too. They don't all go on at once because the pressure.
Yeah, exactly. Like there needs to be like an all-on button. It's like with Alexa, where you say like turn on your whole house and it just turns everything on. Yeah, you need something like that for the sprinkler system to be
I
like.
wonder,
Okay.
I wonder it'd be cool if they had like for sprinkler systems, like because when you have your zones and stuff, it's meant to like get proper coverage of your yard, but maybe
Yeah.
there could be an alert one where it's like just coverage of like more perimeter type thing, like maybe something like that. Maybe they should start programming the systems to have like an alert sprinkler setting, so it's not, so it kind of operates a little differently than the typical like zones for keeping your grass perfectly green, I
Yeah.
guess.
Or I wonder if you have like, as you were mentioning that, I was like, what if we added another zone that was just like, because we have a mix of sprays for the grass, and then there's the little spinny ones for bushes.
Yeah, we have those.
We have drip lines for the garden. So it's all different types of things. But I'm wondering if maybe you have like one zone that is just the big sprinkler, the big sprayers that just spray everything. And it's kind of like, okay, in case of emergency, turn on zone 6, and zone 6 just pops these big sprinklers and it just goes.
I like that idea too.
Okay. All right. See, we make great progress.
Or maybe even there's like for alert mode you could do, because usually your zones you're having them run for, I don't know, 10 to 15 minutes each or something.
Yeah.
Maybe you could do a quick where it just goes in circles and does 1 minute each zone and type thing, where it just loops around really quickly type thing.
Yeah. Or you need like a program, because like if like we have a zone,
AI, we'll get ChatGPT to come up with that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because we have like a zone that's just drip lines for like our garden, and I wouldn't want it to stop and do like 10 minutes on the garden in drip lines. I'm like, I don't care anymore. Yeah, just anything that's shooting water. That's the idea.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so then we'll do a little research. I may call a couple people and see.
Chuck says that he's going to get it. Chuck said he's going to get his people on.
Okay, so. Awesome. Chuck is on top of these sorts of things. Yeah. That's excellent. Yeah. All right. Well, it's a little after 5:30. It's Friday. I have to go grab dinner.
I have to go figure
Tuck
out dinner.
Wants to make sure that Mom is not pissed. We haven't forgotten about that. But thanks everybody for joining. Appreciate you all jumping on with absolutely no notice. I think we've trained our audience very well to expect the unexpected.
Not expect much. Expect much.
Expect very little and in notice and content. I think that's what we do very well every week. So stay tuned. Next week we'll have probably our regular. Is Wednesday looking okay for you so far?
It's kind of far out in advance. I think it should be fine though.
All right, that's fair. So it'll be Wednesday or Friday, one or the other.
Yeah. I think actually Wednesday will work better for me than Friday. So.
Okay, fantastic. So
I thought we had
so
good topics though. It was a short one, but we're talking about the stuff that's
yeah,
relevant for it's a current event, and yeah,
current event, but not overly political. Like
yeah,
it was
and
fantastic.
we're
Okay,
still smiling during it, and we're just not,
we're getting so good at this.
yeah.
Oh my goodness. Can you imagine when we have as many episodes as like casual preppers? And it's like
Those guys
400
are those
episodes or
guys are
something?
good. Those guys are
It's
good.
going to be on top of things. Anyway,
It, yeah.
all right. Well, thanks everybody for joining. We will see you next week. Um, Stay safe if you're anywhere near wildfires or anything like that, or tornadoes or hurricanes. Like there's a lot of stuff going on right now. So be safe, and we will see you next week. Thanks for joining. Talk to you later. Bye bye.